are here. Tour of Newport News. Got these dope fabric numbers. That is pretty sick. New jersey, new kit for this year. Looking fresh. Got the bike over there. Tonight is 200-meter street sprints. So pure watts, track style. We'll see how it goes. I'm not very optimistic. Fuck. Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So we have a new event for this year. So we have the Tour of Newport News. This is a 4-event, 3-day Omnium. And the first event is a 200-meter street sprint. So I've never done anything like this before, had no idea what to expect, had no idea what my gearing should be. Fun fact, it was wrong. I get eliminated pretty quickly here, but it was fun. This is a really cool environment to be in, plus Frankie Andrew saying your name while you're on the start line is pretty dope. So it was pretty fun. It was a little wet, but I was ready to sprint. But again, I have a new crankset. I have a 5339 on my race bike this year and an 1125 rear cassette, so I was way too high of a gear for this sprint. So you're about to see what happens when you make the wrong choice with gearing. And we were the first heat too, so we were the first heat. I was front and center very beginning of the event, so the pressure was on. And I decided to mount the camera on my helmet actually this time to get a little bit of a better angle, or at least different. And I like the angle actually. I think I'm going to do more of this in the future. Obviously it's not as aerodynamic, but in a sprint like this it doesn't really matter. But as you can see, wrong gear choice, shaking my head. That was rough. That was painful to watch. So eliminated, it was elimination style, so the first 2 made it through each heat. And this event went on for a while because there were all the different categories and masters that we had to eliminate, and then we had to do the second rounds. So stage 2, the next morning was time trial. So this I also had never done before, didn't know what to expect. Tried to be as aero as possible, and I had decent power. I'll put the numbers up here of my effort. It was a 5-mile effort. It was really short, out 2.5 miles, 180 on a 2-lane road and then back. The demoralizing part was the person who was staggered 30 seconds behind me was like 6'3", I think, and he's really strong. I've raced with him before. Forget his name. So he passed me, and I'll tell you that my morale was in the tank after that. That did not feel good. So I ended up getting, I believe, a 19th overall in my category, the 2-3 category. I'm doing the 2-3 Omnium for this year, by the way. I got 19th, so not great. I don't think time trials are really my thing, but it was fun to try it. Later on in the day, so we had basically the whole day to kind of kill time, and now we have the crit. So if you remember last year, for any of those who did this event, it was a 1-2-3 race at night. It was the Twilight Criterium. I did that race last year. It was a ton of fun, especially under the lights. And same course, earlier time of the day for us. The P1-2 guys were later under the lights, so the 2-3s were at 6 p.m. And I have some teammates. So in front of me, shifting forward, is a new guy on our team named Paul from North Carolina. He's really strong. He's a Category 2 racer. Really nice guy. I met him for the first time this weekend. We also have Brian and we have Flo, who are veterans of the Meta squad. So we have the 4 of us in this race. Didn't have a lot of strategy. Also, unfortunately, my front camera, for whatever reason, only recorded the first 7 minutes of this race and then just inexplicably shut off. So I do not have front footage for the entire race. I do, however, have rear footage. So we're going to highlight the most interesting parts of the race and show you some of the crashes. Unfortunately, there were some. Unfortunately, Paul did go down hard, broke his collarbone, as a cyclist does. He actually cracked another teammate of ours, their frame, because his original bike, he broke the stem bolts by torquing them too much, I think, is what happened. So he borrowed somebody else's bike, crashed, and cracked it. Fortunately, that person had insurance, so they will get a new frame. So that's the silver lining, but it sucked, no matter which way you slice it. So we didn't really have a strategy coming into this race. I know Paul is pretty strong. I'm feeling pretty strong even after the time trial today. And Flo obviously just came in for this race. He's got a bomb sprint. so I know that he can put out watts. However, he came literally 15 minutes before this race started. He got here right before we rolled up to staging. So we didn't have a chance to warm up, and that'll play a factor later in this race. But we're going to go through the race now. We're going to skip forward a bit, and we're going to show you the course. I was a little timid with cornering. This is my first technical race of the year. I think it was the first technical race for a lot of people. So I definitely noticed that even though it was a 2-3 field that's generally pretty smooth, there were some breaks being grabbed, including my own, kind of out of necessity with the group. And boom, right there. So the group had slowed up. Flo barely misses that crash, and that's Paul on the ground in the silver helmet. So the pace had been high the race until that point. That was a slight uphill. The group bunched up. I've done this race before. I kind of saw it coming. I moved to the outside because everybody kind of bunches on the inside, and that's exactly what happened. Paul got pinched, went down hard, broke his collarbone. He's done. So really sucked. Really sorry to hear that for him. Hope he gets a speedy recovery. But we're going to keep going. So now it's Flo and Brian and I in the race that's left. And at this point, until later in the race when I saw Flo and Brian in front of me, I had no idea who on my team was left. I heard the crash, didn't look behind me at all, just kept riding, and had no idea who was in the race. So at this point, I'm kind of just trying to serve wheels, trying to not lose too many positions. There's a lot of people in this race, and again, I don't have front cam footage, so I can't really show you what's going on in front of me. I can only show you kind of how it gets strung out behind us. But I didn't really have a strategy, to be honest. This is my first hard Criterium of the year, so I wanted to. At this point, I just wanted to not crash because there was that crash. Later on, there's going to be a crash involving Mike Principato on Badley, and then the last lap you'll see later on. There's another crash, so it was quite a few crashes in this race. So I just wanted to be safe. But I'm going to show this move because this is actually probably the best move I made the entire race, and I'm following a move up the front is probably what I'm doing. I think there are two riders in front of me that are surging up. So I moved up on the inside before that left-hand turn and made up all that spot. And now I'm sitting basically third wheel. I'm basically in front of the entire race. And so looking back at this footage, I had forgotten that I did that, but I was pretty proud of myself for that, looking back. That was a pretty good move on my part and showed a little bit of confidence taking the inside line on that turn and being able to pass the peloton. But a few laps later, I realized there's a lot of race left. I don't want to burn myself out. I'm going to pull off, and I'm going to let the group pass me. I'm not going to let too much of it pass me, but I am going to let the wheels go so I can get a better draft and sit back in. So I was kind of filtering up and down this race. Flo and Brian were more steady kind of towards the back of the pack in the race. They didn't move up a whole lot until the end. But me, I was kind of going up and down quite a bit. I followed a couple moves up the road, but I think after that last move that I made, I realized that the brake wasn't going to stick. The group was going too fast on this course. So Mike, if you just saw there, he just slid out. He got pinched on the outside, I think, and fell. So he was out. That was actually his second crash of the day, unfortunately. He crashed in the 3-4 as well. He's okay. I think the bike's fine. His ego is just bruised more than anything, but sorry to see that as well. So we're coming through. I think this is one lap to go. Yep, this is one lap to go. You're going to see on the outside, if I play back in slow-mo, you're going to see a blue jersey go wide, rub the curb, and then slide out. And, if you look close, he barely avoided that light post. He looked fine. I don't think it was too bad. But I heard that behind me. This is last lap. Tensions are high. So I was a little nervous, but I wanted to not lose any more places than I have right now. And at this point, I'm trying to move up. So I'm trying to find positions to move up. The pace actually is not that high for a last lap. It's kind of single file. I am stringing it out, but there is a little bit of bunching going on. And I'm just trying to follow the wheels of the group in front of me, not trying to let it go. But at this point, I think I still have enough hesitation with my handling with this early in the season that I wasn't as confident to bomb the inside and take the inside line at the risk of sliding out and crashing people out. So I definitely played it a little more conservative in this race. I wanted to have a good finish. I know that your position coming into these last two turns is pretty much where you're going to finish. But I come around this final turn here by this mini Arc de Triomphe, put out a good sprint past Tofik on Kelly, which was cool because he's pretty strong, and finished, I think, 22nd overall in this race. So not bad, mid-pack. I was pretty proud of my final sprint. Really, I think that was pretty strong and didn't crash. So that's always a win. But this weekend was really fun. I have some more footage coming up, so I separated this video from the circuit race video, which is going to be the next day, the Sunday morning after this. So stay tuned for that video. I'll show that. I'll upload that to the channel after this. But as always, thanks for watching. Thank you to Team Hampton Roads and Grand Costa for putting this event on. It was amazing. This is such a good event. Huge props to you guys. Getting Frankie Andrew to announce. If you're unfamiliar with him, he does like big race announcements like he does. I'm pretty sure he's done Tulsa before. I think he's done Intelligentsia maybe. Really popular cyclist announcer. So it was really cool to hear him announce races. And again, great event. I'm glad that it got turned into a multi-day stage race. Hopefully next year I'll be better at the time trial and the sprint, so I could have a better competition or better chance of winning the Omnium. The Omnium jerseys were really cool this year, and I wanted to win one, but this is a 2-3 field. It's no joke. It's pretty hard. So we'll definitely be coming back next year, but as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you at the next one.